Well, no snow yet, but I'm getting ready here slowly for winter. So I got the auger set up there by my bin because I got another load of heating fuel coming yet. So bin's probably about half full right now. Once it gets down a little bit more, then I'll put some more in there, get another truckload brought in. But hey, let's head to the shop. Got some goodies to show you there. So I got a bit of a revision going on here since the last time you guys came to visit me here in the shop. And what I'm doing is I'm relocating the lower A-arms at the back of this machine, and I'm dropping them down, and I'm doing that by making up new brackets at the hub and also on the frame here itself. And what I found in testing, that the CV boot would contact the lower A-arm as the suspension would near the bottom of its travel, like as the suspension would hang more and more, that's when it would start to contact. So you know, I wasn't going to let a CV boot dictate to me, you know, how much travel I can get out of this machine. So I'm fabricating my way around that glitch. And I'm going to show you the hub here. Here you can see the difference from the top to the bottom. So the top mount, that's still the same as last time, but the bottom one you can see there's a difference from the mounting hole to the hub itself. You can see the brackets are longer here at the bottom than they are at the top. So that hub actually goes on the right side, and I can't mount it yet because I still have to weld up the new brackets on here. So I've removed the old ones. They used to be right there in that corner and also out in that corner. So that's a bit of a procedure to remove old welds so that you don't make the frame weaker, and you can, you know, it is possible to do it without hacking it all up. So, you know, that's the thing about working with steel. Just because it's welded together, that doesn't mean it's written in stone, you know. So I think what we're going to do is I'm going to assemble this whole CV joint and that little drive flange and all that stuff. And I'm going to just show you where we're at now. We're going to do some testing on the machine and see how much room we got for the boot now. So right now, that boot is just slid over a piece of mild steel tubing, and I'm using that to simulate an axle. So I'm going to show you guys how this fits together. So you can see the splines there inside the hub. Well, those are the splines that go together with this drive flange. So this flange, it slides inside there, and then it gets the CV joint. See, it's got the bolt holes to line up. And then there's this retention flange for the CV boot itself. So you can see there's a lip on it, and then from there, you know, the axle will slide in here, and then the boot slides over top of this flange. So I'm going to put it all together on the machine now, and then we'll do some testing. So there you can see the stub end of that drive flange sticking through the hub, and it gets a big washer and a nut on this end. So now over here, I'm ready to slide my pretend axle into the CV joint there, and then we'll get that boot on there and see what happens. Okay, nice fake axle. Okay, yeah, and I've only got a couple of bolts in here just to kind of hold it together here for testing. So now for the nice fancy fake axle, and then you can see how that boot just slides on there. Honest, it does. So, and then this isn't going to be the clamp that I'm going to use on the machine when it's finished. This is just something I had laying around and made it up, you know, to get this in testing mode here. So I'll tighten this clamp up, and then let's do some testing. Okay, so I've got the wheel up high, kind of like it's in a bottomed out position, and I'm going to drop it down onto a couple of blocks on the floor, and this will simulate 30 inches of wheel travel. My crane is so squeaky. Okay, let's have a look at that boot. So that gives me about 1/2 inch room there to the arm, so that's all good. And what I did with this fancy pretend axle is I duct taped it up to the top here, and I kind of simulated the correct angle that the real axle would have. You see it's kind of all parallel with everything else. So yeah, and that plays a factor in what that boot does, right? See how that axle pulls the boot up. So, and this puts me at right about 33 degrees. So if I got 33 degrees here, then if I had a real axle in it, that CV joint would be getting the same amount of angle in it. And that's something I have to test yet. That CV joint is, you know, I have to find the limits of it. You know, when I bought it, it was supposed to be good for 45 degrees, and then another place I read it said 40 degrees. So that's something I have to verify what this thing can actually do, because ultimately that's the red line. That's the final straw for the suspension. I just can't go, you know, into that limit. I have to actually kind of get close to it, but I don't want to actually, you know, push that angle right to the max. All right, so I pulled a few more wood blocks out. I'm going to drop it down some more, and this is going to simulate what it's going to look like at 36 inches of travel. Okay, so check this out. So we're right maxed out now, and I can see a little bit of daylight there between the boot and the arm. So mission accomplished, and that CV boot will not be my boss and dictate to me, you know, how I can build this machine. So that's all good. But check this out. So I'm getting some pretty good angle now. So I'm at like 44, 43 and 3/4, somewhere in there. So the angle is definitely getting in there. So, you know, I think what I'm probably going to do is I'm going to build a couple of different shock mount positions for this machine, so that you know, if I want to run at 30 inches of travel, then I just run in that hole. And if I want to you know, experiment with max travel, you know, right to the edge of the CV joint, what it can handle, like, or close to it, I'll have maybe a bolt hole for that too. So yeah, and like I say, what the max travel of this thing is going to be yet, I don't know for sure, but it won't be beyond 36 inches. But you know, I have yet to determine. But 30 inches is looking very doable, and it should easily work well on this machine. So